Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. So glad you could join us here today. Sincerely hope everybody's doing amazingly well. And if you're not, we're here to help. Welcome to everyone who is brand new. If this is the first time that you have clicked on to a Unicorn Light Tarot video, welcome, welcome. And for those of you returning, obviously a firm welcome too. So today I thought what we would do is messages of inspiration. We're going to focus on light and inspiration from the Fae realm. So we're going to be checking in with our beautiful fairies. We've got a fairy here, a dancing fairy. She's taking a little bit of a nap. She's meditating on her side here. And for those of you who have been with me before, you know that we have our beautiful candles always dressed in some kind of beautiful oil. Today we have self-healing and reclaiming of your life magic oil too. So these sessions can be activation, motivation, help, security, whatever it is that you need to use or want to use. This reading for is totally up to you, but this can absolutely help and assist. So if there's anything that you're ready to be rid of, you can stare into the flame and let go of it, or bring in any kind of abundance and beauty that you want in your life. So we have 3 piles here today. You know, let's put this back just a little bit on our fairy. Yeah, she's just gonna oversee the reading. So for pile 1, we have the wizard. This too shall pass for number 1 here. So we have magical wizard for pile number 1. Pile number 2 is our beautiful little imp fairy here. And then, of course, we have our magical unicorn on pile number 3. That's pile number 3 for magic, magic, magic. So again, messages of inspiration and light from the Fae realm. So let's go ahead and move these out of here for now, but we shall be back. Let's see, and then this out of the way. So if you chose pile 1, our wonderful, I was going to say dragon, but I suppose dragons and wizards, that's, you know, that's usually a combo, right? So if you chose our beautiful Merlin here, your messages of inspiration and light from the Fae realm, we're going to start with this beautiful, I believe, Shadowlands. I will link it down below, tarot, and then we will move on to different oracles as we move forward and get you some beautiful, beautiful messages here. So let's see what we have. We have the 3 of Wands, and when we have the 10 of Wands reversed. So let's see what we have here. 3 of Wands. So messages of inspiration and light from the Fae realm. And the 10 of Wands here, and that's in reversed. So pile 1, the first message that we're getting for you too is that very firmly taking a direction right now would be an excellent time for you to do that. And your guides are working with you to give you some kind of inspiration to move you forward. For those of you who are wondering which direction to move into, or how to move forward, or are feeling in a little bit of a rut, or just, you know, sort of have these moments of excitement, but then don't know where to place that excitement, if that makes sense. Excuse me. You're absolute, without a doubt, being told that just baby steps, move in a direction. And sometimes what it is, it's our focus and our perceptions that can really sort of trip us up a little bit. So just to help you focus, instead of trying to figure out, you know, why we're stepping in a particular direction, or if it's the right step, or if we go in this direction, are we moving toward a certain outcome? Take all of that off the table, they're saying, and just move forward with what's in your heart. What is it that you want to do right now? Follow your heart. Drop into your heart space and follow that. And do not, absolutely do not worry about taking baby steps. If I take this little step here, you know, will it really do anything? Absolutely. The baby steps lead to something else, and you don't have to have everything under your thumb, under control, knowing exactly where you're going just to move forward. So again, take away just all your perception from the brain, because our mind doesn't always tell us the truth. It gives us a very particular perception where we're hardwired as humans to survive. The brain often doesn't work with us in thriving. So all you need to do is drop down into your heart space and say, what is it that I need to do right now? Working from your inspiration. Once you work from your heart space allows you really to open up a new sense of sort of perception, and from there you can just sort of figure out what it is that you want to do next. It puts you right in, running parallel with your intuition. And that's what you need to do. It's not that you don't really know where you're going. It's just that sometimes that your mind takes over, and it's the inspiration that we want to work with. It's the inspiration in your heartfelt self that you want to drop back into. So it's just letting you know that you have decided on a journey one way or another. You're never as lost as you think you are. Move forward with your heart-centered self, and know that you are absolutely being supported. And sometimes the smallest movements actually bring in the largest ripples. It really does. Especially if the way in which you're moving forward is coming straight from your heart. So remember your power. Remember who you are. Remember your magic. And remember that everything that you've done and experienced up until this moment is also a part of you. And that is coming in with you as you step into the so-called baby step, which really isn't that much of a baby step. It's just a movement forward. But the momentum of moving forward is absolutely 100% behind you. Everything that you've ever been through, your power, your mystery, your majestic self is all behind you. So that small baby step taken with inspiration will move you in the right direction. And that's when you start getting those messages of, this is, let's move you here, let's do this, what about this, what about that. And don't be worried about taking a linear step, one way forward, this is the way we're doing it. If you're in touch with your heart, as we say here on this channel, living spherically in many different directions with focus, can really bring you multiple results. And that's really where you're at. So if you're trying to move forward just sort of in a focused manner and it isn't working, it just may be that it's really time for you to live spherically and move in one direction initially, but be open to all directions and see where things, sort of present themselves here. So there's lots of opportunities coming for you, and coming in and around you, Pile 1. So it's just a matter of tapping back into your own source of inspiration. And that's, as a mirror degree, you'll be able to see it out into the universe once you tap into it yourself. So for some of you, these are always general messages. So, take what resonates here. For some of you, however, it feels as though you've been hit hard by something. Something's happened. You've been disappointed by something. It could have been a person. It could be a perception that you have. It could be around a specific person, a specific action, something that's going on necessarily, or it could be just in general and you're the one that's projecting it onto your life one way or another. But, as we also say here, this too shall pass. This is a matter of perception. This again is coming from the action of working with your mind. Now, we're not saying, completely disregard your mind. Absolutely not. I mean, harmonious Meditation, harmonious living is about integrating all aspects of yourself. So we would never tell you to, don't listen to your mind whatsoever. Tell it to go off and, sit in a field somewhere and come back when it's ready to participate. No, absolutely not. But we can be aware of how our mind is wired. We can be aware of the sort of paths that it leads us down. And again, if you're just feeling as though disappointed in something, for some of you it could be betrayal one way or another. Again, we want to remind you that nobody can really take anything from you. Your power is still there. So again, drop from your head, your mind space, into your heart space and come back to you. Your power lies within your heart space and your sacral chakra. For some of you, working with your sacral chakra, reminding yourself of how powerful you are. When we get into these mind frames, these perceptions sometimes, we forget how powerful we are. We forget that our life is from our reality and the reality is from our making. We make our own realities. And we forget this, and that's totally understandable, completely and totally. So again, drop back into the heart space, work with the sacral chakra. On this channel too, there's many different ones across YouTube, probably millions of them, if not thousands, if not millions of them. But on this channel, there's unicorn therapy, starts from the star chakra all the way up. And there's definitely a sacral chakra one, and it's working for activation, however you want to use it. If you feel called to, again, always listen to your intuition. It's in the playlist, and if you feel called to, that's another resource that you can do also. Now we're going to go with our fairy tarot cards. Let's get some much more in-depth information and some more inspiration for you here. Feeling this one, turn it up. Now, initially this was reversed, but I got the thumbs up to turn it up, so that's what I listened to. All right, so we have a few. We have the swords suit here, the Princess of Swords. So inquisitive, truthful, realistic, undiplomatic. Information that can help you, but which may also be difficult to hear. Speaking the truth with kindness, an indigo child or adult. So as we were saying before, to give you a little bit more of a vum to your reading, you may have just come into some sort of information, or maybe you come into a new access point of healing in your life, where you've just come into something that's, for want of a better term, is a little bit icky, but you're working through it, but your energy is revolving around that right now. Or again, as we said, the external, around a person, a job, betrayal, or something like that. Some kind of information, excuse me, that has given you, in the end, the fact that it's now open and the information is available to you is a wonderful thing. But right now it doesn't feel like that, right? But we want to remind you that, again, your power is coming back to you. This is where you have the chance to really align with your own power and really understand perception is power, and that we do choose our own reality. Now, it's easy for us to say, on the outskirts here, on the external, oh, just switch your perception, switch your reality. If it were that easy, we would all do it. And it can be really... If there's an aspect, it's almost like for some of you, you've stepped into sort of a puddle and everything seems kind of dark right now. But we have the 5, we have unity here. Do the right thing for the right reason. Compare traditional versus new approaches to see which works for you, a spiritually minded community. We want to remind you here that whatever it is that you've stepped into, whatever it is that you're going through right now, this is a beautiful thing. Objectively, and we'll tell you why. Because once and for all, you can really not just hone in your own power, but really understand how you work with your own reality, break down the forms of perception for yourself and put it back together so it can't be shaken anymore in the future. Now, you do understand that we create our own reality. You absolutely understand that. But at the same time, you're also very open and very sensitive to the external world. So when the external world comes in, it does shake your boat a little bit. Now, this is all happening for you to realize that your foundation that you're building for yourself will be built on a foundation that is unshakable, and you're working on that unshakable foundation. Now, the way in which things work, to build a unshakable foundation, it has to be shook first. So for some of you, it does feel like you're being shaken from the bottom, like everything is, when you're shaken from the bottom, everything rattles all the way up. So it could feel a little disconcerting right now what you're going through, but all you're really doing is reaffirming your very firm foundation and really clearly connecting with your own source and power, and connecting that source and power with source and power, with the universe. The way in which you work with the universe, the way in which you speak to yourself, the way in which you delve into your psyche and how you work with yourself is very different. I heard this the other day. I can't remember where it is. It's definitely not my idea, but I loved it. Somebody was saying that when you start speaking to yourself, and this would really apply for you, Pal One, because you are wonderful with others. If you could give the kind of security and beauty and and space that you give to others, to yourself, it would be a completely different inner world for you. So the way in which you speak to others when they're being really hard on themselves, X, Y, and Z, and then you'll come up, well, you did your best, or you did this, or you did that. This is something that you do constantly. When you have this inner chatter to yourself, imagine that you're saying this externally to somebody else, and watch how your verbiage, watch how you speak to yourself. If it's in any way dark or really hard on yourself, or this, that, and the other, you can be very hard on yourself. Like, for instance, one of the reasons why you could be feeling very hard on yourself right now, because I thought we had this. We want to move through this. Why can't we get this? Or just feeling, real talk here, Pal One, just not really stepping into the victimhood necessarily, but feeling sorry for yourself a little bit because it feels overwhelming. And as we get lost in that sea of overwhelm, it's very easy to say, well, I'm done. I'm out. I've had enough. I don't know what's going on here. But really, this is about you connecting back into your own power. So when you start speaking to yourself, really, really listen to the verbiage. The words that you use, the tone that you use, and imagine that you're speaking to somebody else. Imagine that you're speaking to somebody who's come to advice for you. You would never speak that way to them. You would never speak that way to them. So pull back that energy and imagine that you're speaking to somebody else, and start speaking to yourself in this mind frame of elegance and beauty and transcendence. That's what it is that will help you through this too, and get you that clearer path to your own power, where you can pull yourself up, dust yourself off, and just say, I've got this. So this is a very important part of coming back into your own power, and seeing the light. For a lot of you, it feels like the light has just sort of gone a little bit one way or another, but it's just there. You are something that it's obscuring it a little bit, but it's still there. And once you open up just a little bit, you will see that light. So let's see what else we have for you here. And we want to remind you that your guides are very much in and around you, helping you through this. And this is not, it's sort of this weird paradox, because it seems like it's, for some of you, it seems kind of big. It seems kind of big. But at the same time, it's sort of the small click that needs to happen in this perception for you to move through it. Now, the reason why it seems big is because it's not a small moment of interaction with your soul. It's not a small lesson that you're learning. So your entire being is enveloped within it, so you can learn it properly and learn it well, integrate it into your consciousness and subconsciousness, integrate it into your foundation, so you can build that firm foundation. So there's a reason why you've expanded it. There's a reason why you feel as though it's bigger than it really is, but it actually isn't. It's just appearing bigger, so you can integrate this lesson once and for all. ebb and flow, absolutely, with the ocean that we have here moving forward. We want to remind you that the sun is there, the sun is setting, that warmth is coming in. It's all about two systems of thought are being broken down with you, within you, and one system of thought is being broken down is this element of control versus alignment. This is why it could feel a little painful for you. You do love the idea of ebb and flow. You absolutely do. And you've gotten to the point where you're pretty good at that. You're flexible. And then when something happens to trigger you one way or another, you go back into the control. So this is sort of breaking you open in a way for you to be flexible in your life, to see where you're going. It's also a good time to ask yourself, is what you want really what you want? Have you asked for exactly what you want? Again, get back into that, move down from that head space into that heart space, and really align yourself with what it is that you want. If you don't know specifically what it is that you want, imagine how you will feel when you have the life that you want, and look around you, take notes. There's always ways to know exactly who you are. Now, what you've asked for before may not be in alignment with who it is that you want to become. So everything is sort of up for grabs right now, but you're not being asked to grab anything. You're being asked to release into the moment, release into the next moment, release into the next moment. Now, we want to be really clear. It's not always easy to release, especially when, for most of you, you've had to do a lot of this stuff yourself. You've not had a lot of support. So, I've always said, and I've said in my book, I think, the one that I wrote, Healing Witchcraft in a Conformist World, this idea of releasing, just release, and just see what happens. Be flexible, be flexible. Now, all of that is absolutely wonderful. And we hear that all the way through the spiritual community. But if you've grown up a survivor, if you've grown up in the world where, releasing was not really an option. You had to be in control. You had to be not necessarily on your best behavior one way or another, but some of you may have felt that way. You had to be in survival mode. You had to look out for yourself. There was nobody else doing it. The releasing aspect of life could have been seen for some of you, in fact, quite dangerous. So control really is just about having everything together, making sure you've got all your ducks in a row, because no one's going to do this for you. So for those of you who are feeling that this is a really big thing, learning to do the ebb and flow, being flexible at all times, releasing your needs and wants to the universe, and you're feeling as though you're being broken apart, we totally understand where you're coming from. For some people, it might be easier to be able to do that. For some people who have had support growing up, this may not have come as a surprise if this is what you needed to do. It could have been easier to lean into. But for those of us who did not have that support, who had to be mother, father, guardian, had to be everything for themselves, this is something that could be a little bit more difficult for you. And for some of you, releasing could have felt like a luxury. I will release when I feel safe. I will release when the time is right. I'm not in a position to be able to do that, right? So we do understand, if you're coming from that perspective, we do understand where you're coming from. So heartfelt, big hugs coming to you right now. But your magic is in that, and you are at the point where you're ready to do this. So the breaking open, you're ready to release and live that life and that connection with your Godhead, your God, Goddess, the universe, source. It's all one. However you connect, it's all up to you, and none of it's right or wrong. So we want to remind you that all of your guides are behind you with light and inspiration. And you're at this point because you are at this point in your life where you are ready to break open and release once and for all and say, this is the life that I want, and have that easy life. Nothing's been easy for you right now. And even for some of you, even if it's been easy, you've been like, I wonder why. What's going on? You've been in two minds about it. When's the other shoe going to drop? Or looking over your shoulder, not 100% trust around it. And even if you've trusted it initially, there's always a little bit of just making sure, the shoe doesn't drop. So This is a moment for you. This is a really incredible moment for you. You are ready to release into your life and just say, this is a brand new life that I can have. I can have what I want. I know that I deserve it. You've done all the work. There's nothing that you need to do to go back. As we say here too, don't go down the rabbit hole. You've done all the work. It's just about accepting every part of you. And again, dropping down into the heart and working from the heart space and the intuition from now on in. It's okay to see your mind for what it is. And when we're in survival mode, we often, really work with our minds because it's trying to protect us. But this isn't working for you anymore, and you're very aware of how the mind works. And for some of you, it could be not a level of toxicity, because we want to remind you that every aspect of yourself needs to be accepted, and your mind is just trying to protect you. Again, it's hardwired for survival, not for thriving. So get back into that heart space, and remember, not only this too shall pass, but you've been given a really immense opportunity, and you're absolutely ready for it. Not just to connect to your power, but to connect to a new way of being in the world, where you're not blocking anything good that's coming to you anymore. You're just allowing everything to come in, and multiple opportunities where you can pick and choose what it is that you want. And again, be very clear about what it is that you want. You may not have asked for enough. So the universe is asking you to upgrade. What do you really want? Go for gold here. Go for gold, and you're getting prepared for it. Every aspect, every cell in your body is preparing you for the life that you actually want. Yeah, for some of you, it could feel like a tsunami, a wake-up call. It could feel a little overwhelming, but we're here to remind you that it isn't. Your feelings are absolutely valid. So if it feels like it does feel like a tsunami, we're not going to say that it doesn't. It isn't. But on the outskirts looking in, we want to remind you that all the work has been done. Everything that's coming up for you now is ready to be released. And in that releasing, again, you get this gift of your life. You get this gift of living the way that you want. This flexibility, not looking over your shoulder anymore, not questioning the good things that come in or how long they're going to last. This is really coming back to the fact that we want to remind you that you deserve this. Not only are you a pure, beautiful human being, absolutely gorgeous, the most gorgeous hearted human being, but you've also been working your arse off for this, doing what needs to be done, being responsible for your own energy, figuring out things, pulling away from the world, getting involved in the world when you've had to. You've done the work. You're ready for this, and you absolutely deserve this beautiful movement forward. So as I picked it up, instinctively I looked at the bottom. We've got power here. Again, want to put that there. We have power for you. This is about bringing you back to your own power. I'm going to put that there in front of the fairy here to remind you that this is all about your own beautiful power. And there's nothing that you need to do to secure that power. Except for just open into it. There's nothing more for you to build that power. That magic and power is already there, easily accessible to you. Just let in your guides and listen to your intuition and release and move into the next version of you, because it's going to be epic. All right, let's pick one more here. Absolutely dream. Again, being asked to dream. Now, a lot of you have immense imagination, storytellers, beauty. Again, go back into the dreaming. When your mind goes into that sort of narrow version of things, drop into the heart, drop into your power, drop into your intuition, ask your guides to help, and then open up your dreamscape. Remember, dreaming, or try on different versions of yourself. What have you asked for? Is it enough? Could you go further? You could even script, write down, go further. If you if you want to work for a great company, write down that you want to run a great company. Take it one step further. Take it as far as you possibly can. And then the universe is saying that's not even enough. Take it as far as you possibly can, even if you don't see how you could possibly get there. Again, it's not about the journey. That's been taken care of. All you need to do is release into wanting to move forward in this way, and the rest of it will take care of itself. It sounds really easy, but for those of you who are resonating with this, it's not easy. to have this perfectly effortless, beautiful life. There is so much breaking open. There's so much one needs to do to get to that point where they can allow this beauty to come in from the human existence. So we know it's not that easy, and we're not suggesting that, oh, just X, Y, and Z, you'll be fine. You absolutely know, if you're at this point, how difficult things have been, but we want to make it easier for you. Let that light back in. So let's just finish off with this. So much love and light to you, Pile 1. And also another, there's one, I think it's probably about a week and a half ago, on this channel, the one before this, and it's an abundance reading. Wow, can I speak? An abundance reading, and it's specifically about each pile, your abundance, not necessarily sort of what's holding you back, what you specifically need to do, X, Y, and Z, to pull in more abundance one way or another. We always want to give you practical sources here to give you more help. And just more security in any way. So if your intuition is telling you to go back and check that out, that would be wonderful for you too, because it'll help you with, the abundance reading, some practical tips, and just give you a little bit more information too. So again, it'll probably come right up after this reading, but you can seek it out, abundance reading. So that's also another source for you if you feel called to go in that direction. Okay, you're on the right path. The way ahead is clear and true. You've chosen the right path for you. Again, you're exactly where you've got power here. You're exactly, as a reminder, you're exactly where you need to be. You are on the right path. If it seems a little dark, or you can't see the way forward, or you can't see past like a certain way forward, a couple steps forward, that's totally fine. That's totally understandable. But you're on the right path. You know what you're doing. The light is there. Just sit with your intuition, sit with your heart space, and move forward. It's clearer than you think. This too shall pass. Everything's coming up because, you know, when we've asked for something big, sometimes like the universe gives us something kind of shitty just before that we need to get to. We call it a test from the universe, whatever you want to call it. That's just what you're in the midst of right now. But it's not big. It's not here to step you up. It's not here to stop you or block you anyway. It's not here to sit you for a year so you have to pull through everything and work through everything and heal certain aspects of it to move forward. Not at all. So just stay with it. You've got this. The light is right there. This is your attunement into the next portion of your life. We are sending you so much love and light, Pile 1. Promise you. Remember, sit with your intuition, with the unicorn therapy and the abundance reading if you feel as though you need that for extra support. But you're exactly where you need to be. We know you've got this. And remember, speak to yourself the way that you would speak to others, with respect, decorum, with gentleness, with gorgeousness. You deserve that. You deserve the life that that you've asked for and you will receive. Just hang on in there. Stay safe and sane, Pile 1, until we meet again. So much love and light. Sending you a big hug, loads of hearts. Bye-bye. Hello, beautiful Pile 2s. If you chose this little fairy, then as a reminder, these are messages of inspiration and light from the Fae realm. So we will definitely be working with light and inspiration, whatever it is that you need to hear right now. And as a reminder, we have our healing candle in the background for healing, integration, activation, whatever it is that you need to release, you can release into the candle or bring in abundance and magic. Use the candle, the session, any way that you want. So we're going to start off, I believe, with Shadowlands. Maybe that's a series. I will link it down below. We're going to start off with this tarot, and then we have a myriad of different oracles and tarot here to help us along and get us more information about what it is that your messages are today. So we have the Page of Pentacles, wonderful, and we have the Three of Swords reversed, gorgeousness. So you're at this gorgeous stage, Pile 2, where you've sort of come around a corner and the lightness is starting to come back in your life. You're starting to look back upon your life and see everything that you've been through and really be able to extract a lot of the information, a lot of the worthiness from what you've been through. Now, this has been kind of a process for you for several different reasons. Number one, Pal 2, you've opened yourself up to a lot of different people and a lot of different understandings or explanations of the world because, real talk, a lot of you weren't necessarily grounded. Now, this is a wonderful thing in some ways. It's neither good nor bad. It's just the way in which we choose to live. But you may be earthy, but not necessarily grounded. So, for those of you who have had emotions where you've been overwhelmed before, or making decisions could be a little bit difficult for you at times, or you make a decision and then you start second guess and you're absolutely sure about it and then you second guess yourself. Or the other thing is, it's like a commitment. You make a decision, you've decided you want something, and then you wonder if you've made the right decision because maybe you're missing out on something. This is just a sign that you're not fully grounded into your existence. But because of that, you've been very flexible, situations you've gone into, people you've let into your life. But because of that, a lot of people may have taken advantage or treated you a certain way. And, the offset of not being too grounded is that you didn't have that full foundation of knowing exactly who you were. Now, in this way, again, it's kind of wonderful because you could pick and choose, and a chameleon type person, fit into many different sort of social groups that most people wouldn't, be able to do, sort of a mysterious edge quality to you, sort of move in different circles and be different, certain aspects of personalities in different situations, to the point where one person will be like, oh, when they're talking about you, oh no, that's not the same person, that's not the person I know, display certain attributes at certain times. And that's also a wonderful thing because you great storytellers, brilliant artists, and very avid imaginations, because you can go off in different reactions and situations in any time, and pull up any version of the universe. Of course, that can go against you because any matter, when you think about something, there's a million different ways that it can go, and sometimes it can go dark, and before you know it, 2 seconds and you're there already. It's beautiful imagination, but it's just a sign that you're not grounded in to your own sense of self. Now, your personality has changed and shifted over the years, and that's kind of wonderful because you're open again. And again, pulling in all of these gorgeous ways of living has given you a significant amount of wisdom, because you've seen things from everybody, every certain aspect, every imaginable viewpoint, without a shadow of a doubt. But also, it's been kind of overwhelming for you at certain times, because when we're not fully grounded into who we are, you can be earthy but not fully grounded into who we are. Then people can come in and project upon us, tell us who we are, and then we don't have any frame of reference. So sometimes we believe them, or what we don't do, we don't actually believe them, but we don't disbelieve them. And to our mind, our practical mind, that can seem like the same thing, right? I accept what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I accept what you're saying about me. But, that's not me. I don't know what you're talking about. So this is a time for you to look back and really gather that wisdom from everything that you've been through. And now the beautiful thing is, some people are so grounded into who they are. They're absolutely immersed with their version of personality. This is who I am. Da 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 da. I'm not moving this. I know who I am. X, Y, and Z. You can't make me change. You can't make, that's not you. That's definitely not you. There may be aspects of you that's you, and sometimes you've had to really put your foot down one way or another. You've absolutely had to do that because, you've been projected upon so much that you're like, I have to have some firm footing. So I'm saying right now, this is me, that's not me, stop. So there's been times in your life where you've done that, but you've not done it to the degree where your personality is absolutely set and you're inflexible. So in that way, it's absolutely brilliant. But what's happening here is that you've realized that the word here is allow. You've not only allowed people to be who they are, which is wonderful, but you went one step further. You allowed people to sort of dictate certain aspects of your life, certain aspects of your personality, project upon you in ways that could have been a little bit damaging in the past when it came to you coming back to who you are and figuring out who you are. You live for other people. You want everybody to be okay. So recently, and when we say recently, this could be like, starting 8 years ago, 8 weeks ago, but definitely in the last year, you're coming back to who am I and who am I not. So for those of you who are trying to figure out who you are, but don't know how to do it, a lot of you have done it by who am I not? What do I not stand for? Who am I not? And releasing those notions. And in that, whatever is left, you get to work with. So a lot of you have been doing it that way, and that's a wonderful way of doing this without a shadow of a doubt. Now you're at this point where you can look back and really extract again all of the wisdom that you've been through and just say, for the last time, I've got this inspiration, I've got this light. I don't need to go back and constantly, worry about that betrayal or how that person treated me, because I know for the first time, like, you have this new platform of light where you really understand that they didn't have a proper version of you. Their version of you was very much filtered from what they could give. Their perception of you was very much filtered through their own perception of life. And you realize for the first time how small their perception of life is. Now, here's the thing for you, Paul, too. I'm going to put it out there and see what you think. You've been around a certain type of person your whole life, one way or another, and you've sort of attracted it. And a lot of people say, you attract what you are and you mirror. Some of that is true. And, your instinct, your intuition will tell you if that's what you need to learn. I do believe that every situation that we go through, there's something to learn from it if you want to learn something from it. But I also feel like, when people come into your life and they treat you a certain way, it's because they're nasty. It really is. It doesn't have to mean anything. It just could be, you need more boundaries, you need this, you need that, but it's not necessarily a reflection of who you are per se. But you attracted these people who were like really imaginative and really supposedly free, right? And we're doing this really specifically, free. They had this sort of magical life on the onset. They went where they wanted. They were really imaginative. They were beautiful, sort of very creative. There was something really interesting and beautiful and attractive about who they were and their lifestyle. And you were attracted to this sort of person. But it turns out that this person actually has some problems one way or another. And their life wasn't as expansive as you first thought. And their perception actually was quite dark and quite dated. What they were putting out there was a little bit of a facade. And these are the people that you attracted into your life. And it's not that you were putting on a facade, but you were attracted to the sort of life that you thought, that idea of freedom. You love the idea of freedom, the understanding of freedom. But what you've been doing, Carl, too, is redefining what freedom means to you and redefining what you will put on the table in order to gain freedom. You've been in and around these people because, you wanted that kind of freedom. So being around these people, you studied them. You wanted to see, how they had that life, or you just really attracted to them. What were attracted to their life. And for some of you, you put them up on a little bit of a pedestal, but then you realize the way in which they treated people, the way in which they treated you, the way in which they actually worked in their life wasn't as perfect as you actually thought. And then you realize that it was all kind of a facade. And freedom is not actually what it looks like on paper. And these folks look great on paper, but when you actually got past that, there was really nothing substantial there. So this was kind of a real wake-up call for you. And for some of you, you had to go to great length one way or another to sort of either get these people out of your life or to put up those boundaries where I don't need to be around these people anymore. And it could have felt really tough to cut those cords because there was a part of you that looked up to them. There was a part of you who, when you thought of freedom, you thought of this person, you thought of that way of life. There was something that was heavier in there, something a little bit more substantial, that, when you had to put up the, not barricade necessarily, but it was important for you to have those boundaries. When you put up those boundaries, you felt as though you were kind of, you were moving away from freedom a little bit. You had to redefine what freedom meant. You had to redefine what it looked on paper. You had to redefine the flexibility that's really in and around freedom. You had to redefine all of it on your own terms. And you got to do that very successfully. And what you got to do is you got to look back on all of your life, and you got to, and we're just going to say that because it's not that everyone that was in and around you was full of BS, not necessarily. They were doing their best, and they were doing and living life to the freedom that they thought that they could have, but it was a lot more limited than you realized it was. It wasn't actually free. It wasn't actually living in freedom, right? You've realized that a lot of these people that were previously living in freedom that you thought were actually the most imprisoned people, one way or another, from their emotions, from their past, from this. And there were certain things, that habits, habitual stuff, things that were coming up in their lives constantly, that you were like, okay, what's going on? So this is not a small thing for you to go back and refigurate what freedom means to you, and then be able to reflect it back into your life and say, now I get it. X, Y, and Z. This person said they were this. And this is not about like, oh, they were wrong, they were right, they weren't good enough. This is not a judgmental thing by any stretch of this imagination. This is just looking back and seeing it for what it is. They were this, they thought they were that. I can see it clearly now. So you're in this beautiful position of not seeing betrayal anymore, because these people that were free were doing the best they could, and they weren't as free as they thought they were. They were actually encompassed by a lot of their past, and a lot of stuff that, for some of them, they may not want to look through and get through in this lifetime. And they may do that, but they won't be doing it with you in their lives. So, and for want of a better purpose, we'll just say, for want of a better phrasing, you've outgrown them. But again, it's not about looking down on or moving forward. We all move at different rates, and work things out in our own time frame. We've all come in from different experiences, from different lifetimes. We've come in from different levels of karma in this life. Also, we're here to do and achieve certain things that some people have come down to this earth to do X, Y, and Z, and that's why they're here. And they're going to achieve it in this lifetime, and that's it. Some people want to come down into this lifetime just to try things on and figure things out, and that's wonderful. We can all be, a beautiful light for each other, no matter where we are. So you're looking back on your light and your life, and you're pulling all these wisdoms out without any of this, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened, or this happened to us, or this happened, or they did this to me. It's more in a context. Now, when you're looking back with the context of everything, it's kind of a beautiful thing, because you get to gather the wisdom and say, I was amazing in that situation. They may have accused me of being this, that, and the other, or maybe I was projected upon, or you're no longer seeing yourself through the eyes of others, that you previously put up on a pedestal, or previously thought had it together more than you did, if that makes any sense. So you've come into this new version of sort of an enlightened version of you. I don't really like that word enlightened, because a lot of people take it as a way to sort of look down on other people, or, enlightenment comes when it comes. If you seek it, it's whatever. Just let's live our lives and be the best people we can be, day to day, minute to minute, right? So that's what I believe anyway. If it happens, it happens. That's wonderful. Seek out to be the best person that you can be, absolutely. But let's not go into the enlightenment. But you are here at light. You are sort of at this sort of the top of the hill with a huge amount of light around you. And the light, oh, I'm so sorry about this. And the phone call is coming in for you from Albuquerque now. But everything's coming in for you now, because you can see everything objectively. You can see things with an aura of light before. Whereas when you looked back on your life, you could pull out certain aspects of your wisdom, absolutely, but it was still tainted by the fact that you didn't feel like you had all the information, or you were still, again, not in that foundational space where you were still pulling in a little bit of people's understanding of you and integrating that into who you thought you were. So now that you're on the top of the hill, you're looking down, you've got the light, you can extract all the wisdom. And what happens now is, and this is a beautiful thing, you can piece together your personality. Now it's you can ground yourself into that personality, whereas other people have done it where again they're inflexible. This is how I am. Everybody needs to get around that. These are my points of view. I'm not moving them, X, Y, and Z. And again, that's just who they are, no judgment. But that's not who you are, because you based your life on what everybody else said. So you have this beautiful way of putting together aspects of your personality, grounding that in, building this really firm foundation, which has been the core of the essence of 2021, building that firm foundation of who you are. And yet, it's so flexible. It can move in any direction. Yes, you have certain personality traits, absolutely. But even those are flexible and can move in any sort of circumstance. So you have this new version of freedom that you've sort of pulled apart in order to figure out what that freedom meant to you. And you're so close. You're at the precipice of knowing and feeling what that freedom is. Now, you've already done that work. Now what you're doing is applying that freedom, applying that release, applying that new version of this sort of like really beautiful personality that was somewhat fragmented before. Again, the chameleon, as we said, you could you could be great in this situation and great in that situation, and woo a party of people who had a lot of money, woo a party of people who didn't have a lot of money. That you could fit into any circumstance, but it was almost, you had to give up a certain aspect of yourself in order to do that. It's almost like you became so much of a chameleon, you didn't really know who you were anymore. Now that's different to being in the void, where we have no personality anymore because we're just a reflection of the Godhead, of the universe. And when we get to that stage of healing, yes, absolutely. But that's not exactly where you were. It was just sort of this emptiness. So it felt like for some of you that you were in the void. And for some of you, it could have been quite painful. But again, we're not going to concentrate on that because you're out of that now by redefining your position and your understanding of freedom. You've realized your self-worth. You've grounded that self-worth into your own version of your own personality, which is flexible, which can move in any direction and is ever changing too. You also have those boundaries too, which are wonderful. You needed those, Paul, too. Well done. To move forward, to really understand people for where they were, which is so interesting for you because your intuition is absolutely impeccable. You're definitely the folks that get the red flags. And again, the red flag is between, when a person comes into your life, when you're getting a red flag, that is between your Godhead, your source, your angels, your guardians, and your subconscious. The person that's giving you the red flag, usually 99.9 times of the time, absolutely does not know that they're giving a red flag. Even if you insist that they are and you try to point it out to them, they won't get it. That is, you've had those red flags. You bulled through them like in a bullfight. So you've not always taken heed of them and you've gone into the situation anyway, but you've been given those red flags. So your intuition is impeccable. It's absolutely impeccable. But at the same time, you can be so naive and so beautiful because when you bring somebody into your life, your sense of loyalty is so high that once you've accepted them, they literally can do no wrong. So in the past, when people were in and around you and they treated you a certain way, this, that, and the other, your first instinct wasn't to say, oh, they don't have as much freedom as they thought. Oh, maybe they need to work on their stuff. Maybe this isn't okay. You might have said, okay, I don't like the way they're treating me, this, that, and the other. But you may not have been so firm to act on it, to cut them out, whereas other people would have done that. And that just speaks to your testament of innocence and beauty, slight naivety, but that's okay. But really just the fact of like your inner loyalty, when somebody is when you bring somebody in, that person is there, and they can do no wrong. And even when they do, you'll work through it. You'll work through it where most people will be like, no, absolutely, I'm not going to do that. So, no one's asking you to change that version of loyalty. You'll always have that. It's beautiful. You're just being more selective to whom you give it to whom you you give that beauty to, because that loyalty should be saved for people who are your soul family, who are absolutely coming in for you. Now that you're looking down over your life and you're ready for this sort of, new way of being. So let's see, turn this up. Justice. Take time to review the details carefully. You will in the end. Fair and objective decisions. This is already what you've done. You've looked through your life now, and it's a little bit different to the way you've looked through it before. And that's wonderful, because you can absolutely see without a shadow of a doubt, again, looking through objectively what happened and why it happened, and extracting all of that beautiful information and all of that wisdom for you. And without you being hard on yourself. You can be so hard on yourself. Why didn't I see that sooner? Why didn't I listen? Why did I do this? All of that is gone. It's okay that you didn't do that at the time. Your inner child, for some of you, or for most of you, came out at really beautiful times. Some of these people, some of these situations could have brought out your inner child, but actually they might have exploited that a little bit. So, part of you being on top of this hill looking down and seeing everything, you can integrate your inner child absolutely, totally, fully, in a really, really safe way. So you're feeling really grounded to the earth. You're feeling very much in your own body, like physically. That's something for a lot of you, you don't always feel like. Sometimes you feel as though you can sort of float away. Feeling very physically in your body, and really allowing that sense of naivety to be ingrained and positioned in every aspect of your life, instead of coming out in certain times and sometimes people taking advantage of that, and then you realizing that situation happened, and then you bring back the inner child to lock it up, to keep it safe, and then when you feel safe again, let it out. This is like full integration. So a lighter, happier, brilliant sort of causation, and this beautiful, and this this attraction that you have to life, and all of the circumstances and all the connections that you have, integrated fully with your this beautiful naivety that you have, this childlike sort of existence, which is absolutely beautiful. And we have here the cups, emotions too, the Four of Cups. Being distracted and failing to see a magical opportunity, take someone or something for granted, discontentment with life. Now this is something that you're moving out of now. The switch in perception that you have. You now know that you don't need to see things or take on other people's responsibilities. It's their responsibility to figure out their own life, and their, when they project. And it's not your responsibility to take it on. So a lot of this in the past may have caused you some hurt, some resentment, even definitely discontentment, because you believed some of what was projected upon you when people said you were either overwhelming, or you're really emotional. But they said, how people say it, you're really emotional. They don't have to explain themselves. You know what they mean. It's too much, or this, that, and the other. And it's usually people who really don't deal with their emotions that say that, that see it as see emotions as something to not be dealt with, and just a little bit afraid of them, So, and of course that not only does it distract you from you, but it actually severs you from your actual self, from your power center, from your magic. Now that you're up, and you're seeing things clearly, you're really not divided anymore. Different aspects of yourself are not divided anymore, just to feel as though you can fit in wherever you go. Now you're grounded into the earth. Your personality is set to a certain degree, but again, is flexible, and you can move in any direction that you wanted to before. But here's the difference. Before, you would acclimate to any situation that you were in. Now, when you walk into a room, everybody acclimates toward you. So that is true power there. And it's done in such a way because you've been, you know what it's like to be beaten down. You know what it's like to be projected upon. You would never use that energy to feel heightened or highlighted, or to feel better than anyone else. Because it's a huge amount of power that you have, that you've just come into, and that you're about to wield in the world. It's a huge amount of power. A lot of people will want to work with you. A lot of people will sense what you have to say. Some people will still be triggered by that and project upon it. But again, you put up, you now know, all right, that's your opinion. I respect your opinion, your decision. It doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm gonna I'm gonna say no to that. I'm done. You can move away. You don't have to take anybody else's crap, for want of a better term, anymore. If they haven't done the work, you don't need to look down on anybody for not doing the work. I totally understand why people wouldn't want to do the work. It's very painful and it's not pretty. There's a lot of ugly crying. And if you can get through this life with and avoid it, why not? I mean, I would love to have had a life where I could have avoided it, honestly, and just had a much easier life. I probably would have wanted to do that, but unfortunately, that's not what I was here to do, and I really didn't have an option of doing that. But I totally understand why people want an easier life. I totally do. I really do. So, when people aren't doing the work and they come into my space and X, Y, and Z happens, I totally understand. And actually, I'm always a little bit envious, but I totally understand. It doesn't mean that I need to take it into my space. I don't need to take it in. I just need to meet them where they are and just say, we're done. I don't need to take this in. I appreciate where you are, but no, no, no. And you're absolutely able to do this now. And you're also able to see people for exactly who they are, because you're careful now. And again, it's there's nothing wrong with being careful. You're not worried about it. You're not paranoid. You've not been burned by the past where I'll never have loyalty again. I'll never bring you into, my tribe again, or, my soul family again. Not at all. But you're definitely a lot more selective. And you listen to those red flags now. So that level of commitment comes maybe a little bit later. It comes after you've really settled into your heart space. And, is this person, are they matching my energy now? Do I need them in my space? So this is all where you're at. Absolutely. Harmony. This is all where you're at. So you don't have to worry about people coming into your space and not even taking advantage, but you don't have to worry about any of that anymore. You've learned those boundaries. You've had to learn them the hard way for some of you, but you've learned those boundaries and that's where you are. So all of this, even if they come up, new beginnings, dawn, absolutely. Even when they come up, it doesn't matter for you anymore. It may feel a little disheartening to say, you know what, stop. I just stop. We're not going to do this. You need to go off. You need to deal with your own thing. This isn't even about me. Bye bye. You don't have to physically say that to them, but you can say it to their energy. I've done that a couple times. And then done. So it may feel a little off to do that because you're not usually that blunt. You're not usually that protective over yourself. But, just instigating that initially and then after a while, it'll come second nature and you won't even have to worry about it. But this is the new beginnings. This is the harmony of you. And enjoy this sort of really understanding aspects of your personality. There's aspects of you that are coming up that you really get to explore now, that you get to explore on your own terms without other people's projections upon it, sort of tainting your version of it, It's almost like somebody wrote the script to your life and you were absolutely going through the motions, but at some points, and then you were like, oh, I don't really like the scene. You were rewriting certain scenes, and there was certain way, but you didn't have control over the entire thing. And just to put it bluntly, what you did is you threw out that script and said, no, I'm just gonna. You know what? It would be quicker and easier if I just rewrote it on my own terms. I was trying to rewrite certain aspects and act two and this, that, and the other. But you know what? Everything goes because I'm the only one who can write this. I'm going to write it. It's going to be really quick because as I look back, I've gotten all the information now. I'm going to channel everything. I'm going to channel the script in 2 days and get it all down. That's kind of where you're at, just to give you sort of a visual for those of you who are writers or even screenwriters who want to be. Your imagination, because again, your personality isn't fixed in many ways. So your sense of imagination can go off in many different directions. So, I mean, for those of you who are going back into creativity and you were creative, but then, you didn't have time for it, you didn't do it. I mean, once you get back into this, into the mind frame of creativity, you will find that, so many different things will come together so quickly and you'll be able to move through every situation that you, every creative sort of situation that you put yourself through, it'll culminate much quicker because you're basically channeling now. I got so excited I hit the I hit the camera there, but you can really do this a lot quicker because you're just so in touch with everything right now. Absolutely, creation, beautiful. I love doing this on camera. When you actually when you're pulling this all through and you're shuffling on camera, you can see how all the magic sort of happens, and you can see, I mean, the level of creation that you have now is absolutely gorgeous, and it will speak to a lot of different people too. Partnership, that's what it'll speak to a lot of different people who will want to work with you too. And again, step back into your heart. Sit with yourself. You always have the right answers. If you're not sure, speak to your inner guides, speak to your fairies, your elementals, whoever you work with. They'll let you know there's a lot of opportunities coming in. This just came out. Whoop. Turquoise. A turquoise crystal is color blue. Its healing magic works on you. Absolutely. Let's do one more too. So the right person to work with. Check in and see where you are. Trust, breathe in, breathe out, let go of doubt. Absolutely. If any of that comes up for you, remember you are on a light-filled past now. If you're still at the stage of still integrating all that wisdom from looking back into your past, that is an incredible feat. It's an incredible part of your journey. So don't rush that. That's wonderful. But as you're on that top of the hill, seeing that objectivity, really enjoy that integration of the inner child and have that beautiful imagination and that really firm knowing that you are this beautiful, gorgeous self. And that softness that you have, that may have been taken advantage of before, just let it really grow in your heart center, because that is that beautiful childlike naivety, gorgeousness that's going to lead you through this world and actually is going to be your greatest asset. So sit with it, enjoy this sort of new realms of personality, and sit with it and see what it can bring in for you. It doesn't require a lot of action to bring in what you want. Just put out the intention, match with your own existence, with your own alignment, and see what comes in. Play around with it, mess around with all this beautiful information, all this beautiful energy that you have, and get excited about your new life, because it's here and you've worked really hard for it. And remember, you absolutely deserve it. We want to thank the Fae realm for beautiful light and beautiful inspiration, messages of inspiration. And we're sending so much love and light to you. Big hearts. That kind of looks like a kidney. You know what I mean? Big hearts. Sending big hearts to you. Stay safe and sane, pile 2, until we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay, you gorgeous pile 3s. If you chose the unicorn, then your messages of inspiration and light from the Fae realm are coming right at you. And don't forget, we have our sleeping fairy here. And of course, we have our beautiful magic oil for more healing, activation, and abundance. Anything you want to release into the flame, bring in magic and abundance, whatever it is you need. We will start off with, I think it's Shadowlands, or as I said before, I will link it down below. But we have these tarot, and then we have a myriad of different we have some more tarot and oracle as we move forward to get you more messages from the Fae realm. So let's start with the Chariot, which is reversed, and then the 2 of Wands. So let's see. So pile 3, your messages of light and inspiration really holding you up right now and pulling your courage back to you. It feels as though slightly different energy, the feeling of energy of pile 1, but there's a little bit of a crossover there. Either something's sort of not come at you necessarily, but something sort of knocked you sideways a little bit. Just feeling For some of you, there's a feeling of hopelessness or a non-connection of moving forward. And it's really just about you coming back and understanding where your courage truly comes from. Whereas before, you pulled in aspects of your courage from the external world one way or another. And there are several different ways that you did that. One of the ways that you did, if you put out your energy, now there's nothing wrong with any of this anyway, but there's nothing wrong with asking for signs. There's nothing wrong with asking for, making sure that you're on the right path, X, Y, and Z, from the universe, and working with the universe that way. It's important to do that. And the universe actually really does give us signs and really does direct us in a way if we work with them and we ask for them. Not everybody asks for them, but you can ask for specific signs from the universe too. I want to see a unicorn, or choose something that's, these days unicorns are integrated into our world a little bit more than they were like even 10 years ago, which is an amazing feat. But choose something that's like sort of out of the way, a little bit weird, that you don't necessarily see every day, and you can say to the universe, integrate that into, let me see if I'm on the right path, and give them like a 48-hour period, like, or a 24-hour period. They'll absolutely do that. So there's nothing wrong with that per se, but when you put your energy out there and you've decided on something and you're moving forward, and then if you don't see any evidence of it coming back, you start to doubt. And then what happens is the energy that was around whatever you put out starts to unravel just a little bit. And then that unraveling feeling comes back to you. So you have these very firm intentions, you move forward, you're very, very clear. And then it's about, some of it is like, not a distrust of the universe, but a distrust maybe of yourself. But bringing in that courage, and that's what you're working through now. So if you're feeling as though you've been winded a little bit, you've been knocked a little bit, and you're wondering why, again, this is about firm foundations, but for you, it's bringing back that courage, knowing that you're worthy of what it is that you ask for, and having that trust. Now, you've worked a lot with having trust with the universe, one way or another. Some of you have done things your own way, and you very, very busy, kinetic energy, always moving forward. So for some of you, you didn't even have the time to slow down to integrate the universe, if that makes any sense. As you move forward, because you're like, I make this happen, I'm going to do this, moving forward. Again, nothing wrong with that. It's a very active, passionate way of being, and moving forward. And you certainly have action on your side. But you've realized now, Pile 3, that it's really important to have the action you don't have a problem with. Direction you don't even have a problem with. Action that, but what you do, what you're being taught now and where you are right now, is that the action without the intention behind the action, without the alignment, without the energy behind the action, will fall short one way or another. So, and the other thing is that you ask for what it is that you truly want. You go out and you get it. And you work really hard to get it. I mean, when you've decided on something, it's almost obsessive. And then you get it and you go, why the hell did I ask for this? Like, seriously, I just spent, pursuing this person, pursuing that. And no, absolutely not. And some of you could have played games in a way. It's like, it's not even an ego thing. It's just, that you're powerful. So you're working with your power. It's almost, this is the way you've tested your power. I want this. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get it no matter what. You strategize and you get it. And then you're like, all right, well, I didn't really want it. Or that didn't really bring what I wanted to my life. Why did I want that? It's just a matter of knowing that you had that power and that you could get it. And you knew that and you could get it. But what's happening for you now is really beautiful, actually, because you're aligning with the real power, which is the energy behind the action. And that's what brings in true courage, that brings this really firm foundation of who you are. It brings the instinct, the imagination, and the power all together into this absolute powerhouse of who you are moving forward, which is unstoppable. Now, before, you've been able to use your power in certain ways. Like we said, you got obsessed with things, you went for them, you got them. In that way, you were unstoppable. But when it comes to things that you really truly want, or getting everything that you want all the time, sometimes it fell short. Or when there was something that was really on the line for you, it wasn't just getting that one job, or getting that person to ask you out, or getting that, whatever it is, when it was accumulative all the way through, you could lose sight of it. And and you wondered if action was enough, and again, sometimes it fell short. So this is about working with your power sort of in a new way, and working in a power with your power whereby you are unstoppable, and you absolutely can bring into your realm of existence everything that you want, whenever you want. And here's the thing, you can do it without all the extra effort that you've been putting in. Now, when you've gone after things, you've strategized, but there was a lot of effort about energy putting out there, going to get that thing, go and get that job, this, that, and the other. This is about something that's a little bit more effortless. Bringing in many different choices and then figuring out which way that you want to go. Working with the universal energy, and sort of not having to do things all on yourself. For some of you, even your shoulders could be hurting, or in the past week, because the universe is saying, we don't want you to carry that much weight on your shoulders. You were never supposed to carry that much weight on your shoulders. You are very powerful. You are very mysterious. You can have what you want, but you don't have to work that hard to get what you want. And this is the way you're doing it. So there's some life lessons that are coming up for you, Pile 3, and they're not small. But in your own way, you've been working to extract these lessons and figure them out. And now it's just a matter of putting all the energy together so you can move forward and figure out how to do this once and for all. So you're aligning with your own strength. You're aligning with how you work with the universe. Yeah, you're giving up a certain amount of control and saying, all right, universe, I'm going to test you. I'm going to work with you. You have various different degrees in how you work with the universe. Sometimes you leave it completely up to them. Sometimes you do things all on your own. Sometimes it's sort of 50-50. But then again, there's a little bit of doubt if they're not working quick enough for you. And that's the thing. The way in which you've worked before, you've been in control of how these, how quickly or slowly this moves, because you've been doing all of the work. So when you hand out some, some of the work to the universe, and it's not coming back as quickly or as favorably as you wanted initially, because a lot of this is happening behind the scenes. Because you're not actively involved in it, you start doubting, and then this, all again, and it sort of starts unraveling, and a lot of that energy that you put into it doesn't stay as powerful as it could. And that's just the way that, that you've worked before. Of course, when you're doing everything yourself, you know how everything's working. You've put, you've said this to one person, this, that, and the other. You're getting it back. You're hearing back from this person. You're much more in control of how quickly it works and how it's working and how the information's getting back to you. But of course, if an unknown, well, not unknown, because you work with the universe, but if an unseen, beautiful energy that you're working with is working behind the scenes and you're not in control of it, you don't know what's happening, then of course, like, you're used to seeing results sort of on your own terms. So you start questioning things and things start unraveling. So you've worked with the universe in different stages and different ways, where different situations called for different stages. So this is a way for you to take all of your power and all of the information and everything that you've done and all of your passion and integrate it in a brand new way. Now, it doesn't mean that you're always going to be moving forward in a very specific way. There are many different ways to approach every situation and every degree of your life. But for you, it's about knowing that you have the strength to actually have the confidence and the beauty and the strength to work with the universe in a brand new way, where you actually say, all right, this is kind of big for me, but I'm going to trust you to bring me the result that I want. This is the information that I'm giving you. This is the energy that I'm giving you. And the energy is in alignment. It's not in control. I am trusting you that you are going to bring me the best thing for my soul. Now, that thing might look very different to what I've asked for, and it might be much better than what I've asked for. But I am trusting that whatever comes back it will be for the best of me. Now, when you've previously been, really passionate, been out there in the world, and you've gone for things, that you've chosen, but it wasn't necessarily the best situation for you. Now, if the universe were involved, they would have chosen someone else for you. They would have chosen a different job. They would have chosen this, that, and the other. But again, that's an experience. That's wisdom that you can extract from that experience. No worries. But it also means that for some of you, you could have been going round in circles a little bit. Why am I always dating the same person? Why am I always in the same sort of job? Why am I always this, that, and the other? Well, the reason why, quite frankly, is because you were in control of everything, and every aspect of it had to go a certain way. So there was no real room for it to veer off in a different direction. And this is something that and we often narrow our world some way, to test the universe. That's the way you tested your universe. And now, from all of what you've done, you know how powerful you are, because you know that you can get what you want. It's just that what you've gotten, you didn't need it. You really didn't need it in many circumstances. So you know how powerful you are. So now it's about merging that power with creativity and courage. And that courage will lead you to work with the universe in a new way, where you're giving up the control, coming into alignment, and using all the wisdom from all of your experience to say, I'm ready for this. What's next? So the way in which you're working with the universe will be a little bit different when it starts popping out like that. I still put them back into the pack. We're going to get you some more information. So this is an incredible time for you. It's a very powerful time, but it's a time for you to redefine what power is. It's a time for you to integrate that power, again, with creativity and with the help of the universe. And also it's for you to work with your energy a little bit differently. For some of you, the way in which you work with your energy might have been differently. Sounds a little strange, but I'm being told to tell you the way in which your heart beats or how the energy moves through your system might be a little bit different. And a lot of you are very, very sensitive to energy, including the energy that's moving within your body. So heart beating, even breath, the way in which you breathe could have shifted and changed. Your energy is shifting and changing, and how you actually relate to and utilize your version of passion, again, is integrating more into courage and working with the universe. So it's all working very differently. So there's no reason why it wouldn't show up in your physicality, in your physical body. And this is just your energy. This is just proof that your energy is shifting and it's showing up in your actual waking life. I'm going to turn that around here. So we have the Prince of Swords here. Intellectual, determined, focused, impulsive. Yes, seek out an intellectual solution to your problem. The need to act quickly and decisively, sudden or unexpected changes. This is who you were before. Now, we're not asking you to give that up. That's wonderful. That sort of intellectual, again, absolutely focused and determined. And there was this impulsive action to you that the passion really drove. And that's the thing. When we're moving in that direction, we are all mind, intellect, power. It's coming from that. Yes, it's attached to your ego too. And there was an element of attaching to the ego in order to prove how powerful you were. But because you were only proving how powerful you were to yourself, the ego never really got out of control. Not a big deal at all. You were very much working with that. You knew you were working with that within those realms. And none of that was really a big deal. You weren't trying to manipulate other people or working your power to gain control or this, that, and the other. You were working in a very specific way to prove to yourself how powerful you are. So taking all that intellectual and that focus and that determination, absolutely. But the way in which you're doing it now is channeling it slightly differently. Again, through the courage, through the heart center, through intuition, working with the universe to create this sort of real freedom. And how we have the Hermit here. Find or be a mentor. Take a break from society. Commitment to your spiritual growth. This is something that you realize that you needed to do. This is something for most of you feel like you're coming out on the other side of. Now, we all know what's been going on in the world for the last year. So a lot of the sort of inner staying at home has been largely sort of forced upon us for one way or another. But you've actually taken this time. Now, this is something that's been coming up for you time and time again, but you've actually taken this time, to be able to work within, to be able to see all these cables and how they work. And just saw this vision of an elevator or a lift. We call them lifts at home, an elevator going up and down, but all these cables and where they're stopping at each stop, and if all the cables aren't frayed, if they're in all good working order, we know that when we press the button, we're going to arrive, at floor level 4, level 5, instead of just pressing the button and knowing that, some of the cables are a little bit frayed, and always deep down knowing that we're always going to get there, but just wondering if it's safe enough to take us to level 3. So that's just a sort of a quick interpretation, a quick visualization that we got for you here. But again, you're on this version, you're coming out on the other side of it. So even if you're resonating with this pile 3, you might be at different circumstances. If you're still in the hermit level where you still feel as though you're in the midst of reconnecting to your courage. Now, reconnecting to your courage on different terms is not a small thing, but once it's done and integrated into your psyche, it's absolutely wonderful. And again, you have this firm foundation in which to move spherically in any different direction. And again, giving up some of that control for the alignment, working with the universe and knowing that everything is coming in to your life is for your best, for your highest frequency. And it's not just what it is that you want to prove to yourself or what you think you want. You have sort of outside help proving to you, letting you know this is really what you need right now. You don't need to do things on your own. As a remembrance, don't carry the entire world on your shoulders. You've not been asked to do that. You don't need to do that. No one asked you to do that. So this is about you taking off all of that, all of the heaviness from, the outside, from the external world, putting it down and just working on your own terms. So for those of you who have come out on the other side of it and you're feeling that newness in your body, you're feeling what it feels like to be grounded and to feel loved and to feel protected from an outside source, this is an exciting time for you. And for those of you who are still kind of in the hermit stage, it's an important stage, but it doesn't mean that it can't be a wonderful stage for you. It's not supposed to be like in a stage where you feel as though you're in the void and I don't know what to do next. This is an active, it is not a passive stage. It's an active stage for you to grab your intuition, connect it again with your courage, and use that passion to trust and have that faith in the universe. We had ebb and flow. Was that, I was going to say season 2. Was that pile 2? I think it was pile 2. Again, this flexibility of saying, and this would be good for you too, just to get into the habit. Just say, all right, universe, this is what I want. This is what I think I want. What do you think? If there's a better version out there for me, put me on the path of that. This is just a starting point. What I'm asking for now is just a starting point. We'll call it the first stepping stone. Put me in the direction of the best, the most productive, and ask them too, the path of least resistance. How do I get there as quickly as possible? You've gone through all of this stuff. There's no reason to make things any harder for yourself. How do I get this quickly, effortlessly? How do I get to the best outcome for me that's the best for my frequency right now? And how do I level up to meet that frequency if I'm not quite there yet? How do I do that quickly? You've got all your ducks in a row. This is where you're at. This is the beautiful essence of working with the universe. This is where the universe comes in and says, yeah, all right, this is a starting off point. We're in negotiation. Okay, this is what you've asked for. I'm going to give you this. This is what you're worth, And what do we have here? Reflection. Absolutely. We're going to put that. And you've got the winter here too, Prince of Winter. So you've got the swords energy of really this intellectual getting back to source of who you are and really coming from that mindset of the intellectual, which you absolutely have, but merging that. Yes, merging the intellectual with the presence of mind of what freedom, what the universe can offer you. And again, from that, this is not a small thing. It takes a huge amount of courage to move from control to alignment. And again, whatever it is and however you were behaving before wasn't exactly control. There was a certain amount of flexibility within that realm, the way in which you were working within the world, within the universe. So you're flexible enough to be able to do this and bring this new venture to new heights. But this is a time for you to move in a completely different direction, and to, again, work in sort of an effortless mode and really sort of have this level of transcendence when it comes to your courage and how you work within it and how you use your wisdom. You have a lot of wisdom, the way you articulate yourself. The other thing too is that you're extremely powerful alchemists, Paul 3. You really can take base energy because you understand it, and that's part of the power that you put yourself through, really understanding your power and pulling it apart. What you were doing is you're pulling apart sort of the human ego part of the power, and now you can work with it at a brand new level with the universe, which is very exciting. But you really understand what it takes to take that base energy and move it up and alchemize it and turn it into something else. You're also wonderful when people tell you things. You can see through what they're saying, because you can see the base of what they're saying, and then you can actually feel what's really there. You're also I'm not a big lover of saying that people are healers, because you're really witnessing somebody else's healing. And really what you're doing is holding space for other people to see the power that they have within themselves. And then they are able to heal their own body. But you are in a position to be able to do that for yourself and for other people too. If you don't realize that you can do that now, you will be able to do that in the future. And that's all part of the alchemy process. Now, for some of you, you may have had this already, where you've had something maybe at a younger age that people said that you either, you'll come to a plateau where you'll always have it, but it might be to a lesser degree, and you've absolutely knocked it out of your body. You've healed in a way. You've already taken something out of your body that really always should have been there, or something that doesn't really get cleared up that quickly or that easily. You've said, no, that's fine, I'll heal it, and you've done it. Some of you have already done that to your body, and this would have happened when you were younger. Or before. So you just have to go back to that element of time. You will be able to do that for your own body and for other people too. Once you really understand, again, moving away from the ego, because working with the true power of alchemy is moving beyond the ego. Alchemy is about really allowing in the influence of what it is that you're trying to move up into, and becoming that already, and then just allowing that energy to sort of accumulate and integrate, and then you are what it is, that gold versus the lead that you started with. So you've already done the ego part of it, again, like establishing the ego essence of it and the power essence of it. Now moving into this new form of courage, again, moving into this new form of power and freedom, with the flexibility that you already have, but also getting the results that you really want, and not going into this, this exhausting, I think I know what I want, I'm going to put it out there, absolutely, absolutely, I'm putting all my energy into it, and if it's not coming back the way that I want, then maybe that's not what I need, or or any kind of doubt that comes up, and then there's this, all right, universe, what the hell, and then you lose the momentum, so really taking all of that off the table, not working in those realms with those ideals anymore, and just kind of working in a brand new way with your courage and saying, all right, universe, this is where I'm at. This is what I think I want. Let me know, give me signs. Let's work together. Let's do this. If I need to level up, show me how to do that. So, I can level up and not rely on any of this doubt, because sometimes for some of you, if the doubt came in and it didn't arrive straight away and you've got the doubt, you would take that as a sign that maybe it wasn't going to happen. Doubt is part of the process. You move through it. That's not a reason to lose confidence in yourself or who you are and let it, backpedal. Absolutely not. So you're working in a brand new way. It's much more powerful freedom, we just said. Absolutely. And this is a brand new freedom. And it's a freedom that you've been leveling up towards. It's a freedom that you've been working towards your entire life. And because you know how to work with all of this, we said floating, that just came up. I'm going to let that go there. But that's just a testament to your flexibility that you can do this. Even though you can be extremely focused on what you want, you do have that unabiding, I'm doing this, I'm going to get there. No one's going to knock me off my track aspect to your personality. Absolutely. It's that flexibility that fuses with it will bring you there quicker. And knowing that you deserve it. And it takes courage to be able to live like that. You have that courage. It's just a matter of allowing that courage to come to you and integrate for you. And again, the way in which you've worked before, yes, you've gotten the results you've won, maybe not the results that you asked for when you've done this yourself. But again, it's been a lot of work. Stepping away, stepping back, having that peace, enjoying, sometimes when you've gone for things, it's, I got to do this, I got to do that. You're busy, busy, busy. And some of it could be, yeah, you're love feeling on the edge of, oh my God, that's, I can't believe I'm going to get this, or I'm moving forward, and that's part of it. That's great. But that also sort of burns your body out a little bit. Sometimes it's good to go, all right, excitement is wonderful. Let's bring in that excitement. But, approaching everything with peace, with a peaceful mindset, peaceful body, peaceful heart, knowing that it's going to arrive, and having the courage to meet it. Again, with alignment, not control. You don't have to exert so much energy into everything. Whereas before you felt as though to achieve whatever you needed, a certain amount of energy needed to be put in there, and you had to have all that excitement. And you sort of, again, that's a way that you motivated yourself, and it worked for you, and that's wonderful. But you're at the stage where you don't. The peace will motivate you now. That's where you'll be moving to. And that's also a sign when you say to the universe, all right, this is what I want. If you feel peaceful, and, move down the road of peace, keep peace, keep peace. If something's coming in, something comes in that doesn't quite feel right, examine it. Why not? Maybe we're moving off in that direction. That is an indicator for you. Absolutely. If anxiety steps in, maybe that's not really what I want, or maybe the universe wants me to check in. So check in with the universe, do what you got to do. But also just this profound integration of the intellectual, the focus fused with the courage, and the alignment for this new level of freedom and beauty, and also new heights. For those of you who felt as though, all right, I've done what I can. I feel like, oh, I've gotten to this stage and I just want to get past this stage. I know I can. I know I'm talented enough, but something isn't working. I know I should be a little further on. This is it. This will get you there. This will absolutely get you there with the peace and the clarity, the peace of mind. So yeah, you're not being held in place. You're just being held here, to integrate fully so you can move forward the way that you want to. So for some of you, you're ready to move forward and ask for what it is that you want. And for most of you, you know what that is. At least you have an idea of what it will look like, what you will look like when you get there. Most of you have been very focused on what it is that you want. You've been planting the seeds. You've always known. And in your own way, you've been working steadily toward it. This is about bringing it home, And also for some of you, if this is a message for you, do take it because it's important. Really understanding what success means for you. You've really, really tweaked with the idea of success. Now, there's nothing wrong with going for success. There's nothing wrong with having money and being known for what you do and being out there. It just means that you're in a position to help more people because you're out there, helping more people because more people know of you. There's nothing wrong with that. But the real success that you want is that peace of mind, is being able to be an example of that peace of mind, of that courage, of moving forward, of working with the universe, of having that strong family link, of being able to be there for people in a way that's exemplary. You know, I mean, that's what true success is for you. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't work and achieve the other side of it too, but you're not focusing on that as a way for you to prove that you're successful. So tweaking with your idea of acceptance and accepting your new version of how you feel success can be and will be integrated into your life will bring you the actual external circumstances, the actual external successes quicker, because you're not focusing on it as much. You're not saying that that's what I need. This is what I need. This is what I can focus on. Happy family unit, being grounded and courageous in my own life, working with healing, being there for people. And then the offshoot of that will automatically bring in the external validation of that, which you won't need, but you'll get it anyway. And there's no harm in wanting all of it. There's no harm, you know, in the spiritual community or even artists, you know, we're taught that, sometimes we're taught that, you know, we shouldn't have it all. You know, it has to be hard. I think religion does that to you too. Everything you do has to be suffering, this, that, and the other. And, you know, and as I've said before, the spiritual path is not easy. A lot of ugly crying. It's really, it's really tough, and it's not for the faint-hearted. It requires a vast amount of courage that not everybody has. And even then, you can be on the spiritual path, and you know, even everything that you're being told and everything, you know, it still filters through your own fears and desires, and you can still go off in a really warped direction, and that's part of your journey, you know. Even when you're on the path, it can still go schizo, right? So it's not for the faint-hearted, absolutely, but it also doesn't need to be this dramatic. You're not owed it. You know it should have, you know, just because you're on the spiritual path, you shouldn't have money. You shouldn't have this. I always say that, you know, the more spiritual people who are in line with humanity and beautiful, the more people like that who have money, the more good they can do in the world. It's much more important for people like that, people like us, to have money, to be able to do what really needs to be done, because the people who, you know, have a lot of money right now aren't doing what they could be doing. You know, a lot of things could be obliterated right now. Hunger, you know, a lot of things, but they're not doing anything about it. If I had 3 million whatever dollars, you bet your bottom dollar that's what I would be doing. I'd be working to, you know, make sure that the Mother Earth is doing well. There would be no nuclear weapons, you know, there would be no hunger, you know, we would stop war. I mean, that's what I would be doing with the money. And like, there's nothing wrong with wanting billions of dollars if that's what you want to do. And don't think for a second when you get that money that you wouldn't do that money. You wouldn't do exactly what you said you would do with that money. You would. You absolutely would, because you've worked through all of this. You know how the ego is. You've worked through all of it. None of this needs to take that much time. Doesn't need that much effort anymore. This is about peaceful feelings and moving forward and still getting the results that you want. Release. Sometimes the only thing to do is laugh or cry. It's up to you. Again, that's your final card. Release. Release into the moment. Again, the reminder, stay out of control, move into alignment, release, but also integrate all of that beautiful focus and all of that sort of creativity, everything coming together, and, you know, that real determination that you have that not everybody has in this world. You absolutely have it. You could integrate it again, merging with the courage to present this absolutely sort of superhuman version of yourself that's absolutely gorgeous, and go get what it is that you want without too much effort. It's drop in also from your head to your heart, merge them 50-50, and you will get where you want to go so much quicker. So much peace and love to you. I've been doing this with Pile 1 and Pile 2, so I feel like I have to do this with you. Sending you hearts and love. Absolutely amazing reading for you, Pile 3. So excited for you to move forward and take that courage to the next level and get that life that you want. You already have it. Just it's just an easier version of it. There's nothing wrong with making things a lot more simple for yourself. After all, that's why we're here. Not everything needs to be hard, right? Just let's make this easier for ourselves and teach others how to do that too. Sending so much love and light to you, Pal 3. Take care, go be you. Until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Bye bye.